A study was done last year where only 34% of consumers globally said that they would trust the brands they buy from. HubSpot last year said something like 71% of consumers say they'll unfollow a brand due to inauthentic or overly promotional content. Trust needs to be built now more than ever. And we've seen this time and time again over the shit show of the last 10 years in business. So the question becomes, how do you stay top of mind when no one's commenting, liking, or reacting? Welcome to Marketing Your Brand, the podcast for business owners who are done wasting time and money on marketing that isn't right for them. I'm Peggy Worrell, award-winning agency owner and your straight talking guide through the joys and chaos of growing your business. In every episode, I skip the fluff and talk openly about what actually works. If you're ready to do marketing the right way for you, let's go. World War III headlines, interest rate hikes, layoffs, distrusting government, media, and yes, brands. Welcome to 2025, where attention is scattered and trust is at an all-time low. We're not just in an unofficial recession, we are in a trust recession. So how do you keep marketing your business when no one's liking, commenting, or buying? Right now, the most valuable currency in marketing is trust. You don't just build trust by pushing harder. You build it by being honest, transparent, and consistent. When people are watching quietly, they're not looking for hype. They're looking for something real. Couple this with the huge shift we are seeing in consumer behavior right now. People aren't just consuming less, they're consuming differently. Yes, we're prioritizing necessities, but we are also caring more about value, reliability, and alignment. So during tough times, consumers focus more on necessities and make fewer purchases. But those purchases are more considered. So it's simple. If your marketing message doesn't feel real, aligned, or helpful, you're going to get ignored. And transactional marketing fails in volatile times. So, we have the uncertainty behind us, fear trumps fear of missing out. When people are watching their budgets and second guessing every decision, discount, urgency, and the hype, it will kind of fall flat on them. They're not going to trust you. There's going to be raised flags when they feel like they're being pushed at with sales. Consumers aren't looking for a deal. They're looking for certainty, safety, and alignment. They might be looking for necessities, but if it's an optional purchase, they're not going to be persuaded. They want to buy from businesses and give their money to businesses who feel stable, values-led, and are a long-term, reliable business. So for example, why would you want to make a purchase from, say, a high-priced furniture item or a bed item if you're thinking in the back of your mind, I wonder if this small business is going to be around in a couple of years when I need to claim a warranty. So they're not desperate. You shouldn't feel desperate for a sale. You shouldn't be baiting them and faking urgency because it's not going to work now. You want to have calm, confidence, clarity, a steady voice that says, we're here, we're consistent, and we're worth your trust. So let's be honest. The world is running on a kind of low-grade panic. If you're a millennial or older and you've run a business, you've felt this many times before. PTSD from the last recession, the chaos of COVID, rise rates, rate cuts, and now another wave of uncertainty. Economic tension, global conflict, a digital landscape no one fully trusts. We're not just in an economic slowdown, we are 100% facing this sort of trust recession that's going on. And this changes everything about how people buy, how they follow, which brands they believe in. We're all risk averse, overwhelmed, and incredibly skeptical, especially of influencers, clickbait, and anything that smells like over-promising. So a study was done last year, so not even this year, keep this in mind, and where only 34% of consumers globally said that they would trust the brands they buy from. HubSpot last year said something like 71% of consumers say they'll unfollow a brand due to inauthentic or overly promotional content. Let that sink in for a minute. Because if you can imagine what it was like last year, in 2025, those stats are going to be much higher. And if you've noticed a huge drop in your social media likes, shares, or engagement, even on your email campaigns or your posts, you're not alone. Surface level marketing stats are out. Emojis and fear of missing out won't save your content strategy. What we're seeing now is the rise of what we call the quiet watcher. Quiet watching is the new norm. So what that really means is people are zoning out. They're doom scrolling or doom watching, but not reacting until something really, really resonates or earns their trust. Unless you're, say, under 19, you're likely a quiet watcher too, right? So we're all sitting here more skeptical. We're more intentional with where we're spending our time and what we're doing. We buy slower, but we buy smarter. So have you noticed, here's a big question, and if you haven't heard of this as a business owner, you must be living under a rock, but have you noticed that Meta's changed their entire ad structure recently? It's not random. It's a direct response to shifting engagement patterns. While Meta hasn't published exact figures, and they probably never will, marketing data and platform trends are suggesting that majority of users, and some of us are estimating over like 80 to 90%, are engaging passively. So they're scrolling, watching, absorbing without ever liking or commenting. And this isn't just small businesses that are seeing this. This is big businesses, all kinds of industries, influencer industries, content creators. They're all noticing that their views are going up, but nothing else is really happening, or their likes and shares are not really being affected by the quiet watchers. So you have to remember, quiet watchers are still your audience. And this is why, as business owners, we need to stop obsessing over vanity metrics like likes and shares and focus on the things that actually matter. Rewire your brain here. You want to be looking at things like views, watch time, click-through rates, and conversions. And if you don't know how to track those or monitor those, now is the time to understand it and find out how. So there's a shift happening with these metrics where it's all now about engagement, consistency, clarity, and credibility. So the question becomes, how do you stay top of mind when no one's commenting, liking, or reacting? Here's how. Show up on your owned and chosen channels consistently. You want to be clear, you want to have helpful content, and you want to be wise on what you're choosing to show up on. Don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Repetition builds familiarity, and that builds trust. So you want to use the emails, retargeting ads, video, behind the scenes content that remind people you're here, even when you're not engaging. Because let's face it, what business owner has time to actually engage on social media? So you want to be tracking opens, viewing replies and conversations, not just likes. And remember, just because they're not engaging, it doesn't mean they're not watching. So be careful with what you're putting out there. The quiet ones, you also want to remember this. Take this very deeply, remember it. Just because they're quiet, they're likely the ones that are going to buy. They're going to think about the purchase. They're going to silently research. So even the quiet ones, even though you're not getting reactions, you might get an inquiry or sale from someone you've never spoken to before, and they're likely the quiet watchers. Quick break. If you're loving this episode and thinking, I really need help with this, we've got you. If you're growing your business on your own and want expert guidance, check out our DIY workshops. Or if you're ready for the power of a done-for-you agency, we can help with that too. Just follow the links in the show notes to find out more. Back to the episode. Here's the way to win in 2025 and beyond. It's simple. Be visible. Be human. Be helpful. As an ex-publicist, I know firsthand that reputation is everything. You know, I've seen clients fall into the trap of done is good enough. And I've seen how that mindset has actually tanked their businesses. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've seen a bit. So now with the rise of AI-generated everything, you need to stand out as human. That means compassion, empathy, and clarity. The reality is trust is built in layers and over time. So you need clarity on what you do and who it's for, competence with proof of results, testimonials, client wins, even visual showcasing. Showcase your work, showcase your products, portfolio, get up in there, get nitty gritty. And consistency. Showing up even when no one's reacting, because 76% of buyers say they're more likely to buy from a business that educates them rather than sells to them. So ditch the hype. Replace urgency with usefulness. You might be thinking, shit, here we go again. Another recession, another global crisis, maybe even World War III, or maybe you've just noticed your sales have taken a hit. Leads are quieter, engagement's down, and you're wondering, how the hell am I supposed to build more trust right now when everything feels too much? Where should I even be investing my marketing when everything feels so uncertain? Let's break it down. Here's what to invest in and what to pause if you want to stay relevant, visible, and profitable for 2025 and beyond. Smart businesses are doubling down on getting clear on their brand story, their why, their about page, and their values, so they can show up with purpose and attract the right people consistently and keep them. Website trust signals, clear messaging, case studies, visual proof, and dare I say it, I hate doing this, but it's something that has to be done. Founder-led video sales letters that actually sound like you. Educational content, the kind that builds authority, nurtures trust, and gives value before asking for the sale. Human-first messaging that sounds real. Please stop using skyrocketing emojis. It screams AI. And you don't want to sound boring, generic, robotic, templated, or overproduced. If it sounds like AI wrote it, people will scroll past it. We're starting to identify these things. So you also want to think about strategic email and video campaigns. Thoughtfully planned, not spammy. Please remember that. Speaking to the intent and not the hype. Designed to nurture, not just be an email blast. Everything you do moving forward in this trust recession should be focused on purpose and clear goals and outcomes that you have. You want to pull back from the vanity metrics, the no depth targeting, just get ads out there, just make a message, just get it out there, just make a sales strategy, just focus on a feature. It has to have a purpose. You want to avoid overproduced reels that look great but say nothing. Avoid clickbait content or engagement bait posts. Yes, they work for a split second, but over time, if people keep seeing the same things, they're going to ignore you. Worse, they're now going to tell social media that they don't want to see your ad anymore and you'll never show up again. So because at the end of the day, your goal isn't just about eyeballs seeing your stuff or getting traffic to your website anymore. It's about alignment and how you as a business and your content relates to what they want to see. So here's, what you need to think about. If you're a business owner who wants to stick around and build a sustainable business that lasts, you need to invest in assets you own and tools that future-proof your brand and visibility. Stop trying to go viral. The age of virality is kind of going to be worn out in a trust recession. It's great initially, but it's something that you shouldn't put your whole marketing strategy on. Once you get them, what are you going to say? Start trying to go deeper with your content and your brand messaging. Now's the time to focus on long-term visibility, trust, and discoverability, especially with attention spans shrinking and AI reshaping how people find and trust businesses. So your quick, smart investments for 2025 and beyond are long-form clarity, strategic blog posts, cornerstone sales pages, service breakdowns that help users understand what they buy, storytelling videos, behind-the-scenes footage, founder-led messages, customer transformations, educational content, things that are actually relatable and address pain points and will connect with who you're targeting. Not just entertainment. Entertainment is fun, but not just entertainment. You also want to look at trust assets like case studies, testimonials, credibility markers, frequently asked questions. They are so powerful and not enough businesses are using facts. Everything that lowers that resistance and builds belief in your business. You want to focus, and this is very important, and I'm so surprised that not many businesses do this, but you want to own your own database, your own email list and community. It is possibly one of the most powerful and valuable assets a business can have and build for their business. Any time you spend on that is time that will repay you tenfold in the future. And somehow clients or, people that we talk to and business owners, they still don't get it. They still don't understand it. It's extremely powerful. Own your database. You have to remember that social media can suppress or suspend you, but your database, that's yours. You can email, SMS, call, send direct mail, retarget them even with customized ad audiences from a database. You can run cross-platform retargeting with AI tools from email to TikTok to YouTube. Heck, you can even follow them all over the internet and show up on random website pages. Your list is what becomes your launchpad for pre-qualifying, nurturing, and converting leads. And here's a pro tip. You're not just building your own database. If you don't focus on your own database, what's the alternative? I'll tell you, it's you're building someone else's platform. You're building Meta. You're building other people's resources and not focusing on yours. So the other thing to think about is optimizing your content. Let's think of it this way. Lots of people are searching. Even with the rise of AI, organic SEO content is increasing. It's not just about Google search results anymore. People are, cutting the doom scrolling, not paying attention, and they're thinking of the intent that they need when they're looking for products. So a study was conducted in 2025, this year, let that sink in, this year, that still shows that SEO drives 1,000% more traffic than organic social media. Let that sink in, because we're not just talking about Google anymore. The future of search is AI. So we must go beyond Google. Language learning models, or LLMs, or whatever slang you want to call them at the moment, they're the new search engines to consumers. They're we're all turning to tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Google AI overviews to find answers. Businesses are not ranking on key important areas that consumers are going to trust and find out about you, because their search intent is aligning with what they need, what they feel, what they're looking for. If your brand isn't showing up in these AI-driven results, you're invisible to the next generation of buyers. And let's face it, none of us really know what's going to happen in 5 to 10 years' time, or when the younger generation turn into the higher consumer crowd that we're going to be focusing our businesses on. Think about that. So here's a pro tip. Yes, there are ways to show up in LLMs. And so I just want to share something with you. It's very, very early days, and it's something that not really anyone can say they exactly know how it works. But our agency ourselves, we get one inquiry a week from people who found us on ChatGPT. Let that sink in, because I always am like, what did you type in? What did you search for? So it doesn't seem like much right now, one a week, big deal. But check in with us in about 6 months' time when we're honing down and doubling down on our AI search results. Because it's all about optimizing your content, creating clear, well-structured long-form content, FAQ rich, think of comparison pages. It's all about using schema markups and having the data that helps AI understand your content on your website. It's about building topical authority, going deep, not just wide with what you're saying. You want to get cited or linked by high authority domains. All the SEO things that we're used to doing are still highly valuable in the AI realm. You want to keep content updated and time-stamped. Relevancy is key. You want to publish on platforms like Medium, yes, Reddit. We all love a good Reddit thread. YouTube, Substack, all of those things. That's where AI right now is drawing from, because remember, AI is pulling information from the internet. And another pro tip for you is, if you haven't heard it, Instagram is also opening its doors to Google search indexing. That in itself is a groundbreaking, game-changing move for search and AI. So remember, all of your captions pretty soon, it may have happened this week, it could happen a month from now, but all your captions pretty soon are going to matter more than your ads. You want to have discoverability. So think of AI and search trends, and all the content you're putting out there is increasingly highly valuable content. So here's how to show up on ChatGPT, get more leads and more sales. 3 things you want to do. 1, You want to submit your website to Google Search Console and Bing because ChatGPT is browsing these tools and using them to index material online. You want to follow best SEO practices. Think of clean HTML, meta titles, schema markup, accessibility, and more. 2, you want to get listed on high traffic crawlable platforms. Think about the big public authoritative websites such as news sites, industry blogs, Reddit, YouTube, Product Hunt, Medium, all those things, those really good premium backlinks and sites, that's where you want to get at. And 3, you want to optimize your site to follow AI crawling. Update your robots.txt files, allow it to access your website and see it. So to do that, you're probably going to need a bit of a tech-savvy web expert pro or some kind of specialist on Fiverr who can do it for you. So you want to make sure that OpenAI's search crawler can get into your robot files. A good way to think about this is it's the standard robots.txt file. I'm probably getting a bit too technical here, but it's the standard robots.txt file, but you want to just make sure it can be searched by the OAI search bot. Now, if you don't know how to do this, have a look on Google by all means. Even ask ChatGPT, it will tell you. But you want someone to do this professionally because you don't want to mess that up. So make sure you're doing it right. As I say, if you're going to do marketing, make sure you're doing it right for your business. This definitely applies when you're starting to get into the nitty-gritty of the technical aspects of your website. So here's a bonus. If you're feeling determined, you can actually get listed inside ChatGPT. You heard me right. It's something called product discovery. So ChatGPT now has a GPT store. It's not fully launched yet. It might be happening in the background. It might be coming in the next month or so, but it's a plug-in ecosystem and your brand can be in it. There's 2 ways you can do it. For the tech-savvy business owner, you want to create your own custom GPT. There's no code needed. You can ask a GPT for the instructions. Have fun with that one. Or you can just join our workshop and we do this in workshop 9 together. Very, very easy. It's just a matter of knowing what to do. So 2, for the tech wizards out there or, the business owners that have devs that they can use, you want to develop a ChatGPT plugin. Submit it via OpenAI developer platforms, embed it into your tools, content booking systems directly into ChatGPT. The pro tip here for product discovery inside ChatGPT, think of this if you're an e-commerce business, is it's going to have its own shopping results. And we're starting to see this roll out on GPT Plus Pro, and some free ChatGPT has it also available. So this model hasn't really taken off yet, but it's coming. So if you want to get ready, product discovery in GPT is a really good avenue to think about as part of your long-term strategy. They're also going to be opening, from last I got an update, I think they're going to be opening submissions soon. So keep an eye out on that because it's really, really exciting. It's the future of AI. It's something we're all going to have to consider. And if you're a product-based business, you want to stay up to date with the shopping search functionality that's going to be online because your business could get in front of millions of daily users with these small tweaks to what you're doing. So last but not least, remember this last point, say less, mean more. In a noisy world, clarity cuts through now more than ever. Your job as a brand is to lead, not just speak. The brands that will survive this storm aren't going to be the loudest. They're going to be the ones that feel real, grounded, and genuinely helpful. You're not just selling a product or a service. You need to rethink that mindset. You're giving people something to believe in, something to care about, something that's going to make you the steady voice in their chaotic feed. And that is what's going to matter going forward. So if it feels harder right now, it's just because, brand equity needs to be built. It's when trust gets earned. It's because leadership needs to stand out. So if you're tired of chasing trends, trust that you're not alone. Show up, speak clearly, with purpose, serve consistently. Because in this trust recession, quiet loyalty beats loud vanity every single time. And if you want help building a brand that earns trust, not just clicks that bounce, reach out to our agency or book a seat in our Build a Better Business program. The links are in the show notes. And remember to do marketing that's right for your business. If you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a straight talking strategy to move your business forward. If you want more support, check out the link in the show notes for our step-by-step workshops that will help you build a better business, leveraging the right marketing tactics. Or if you're ready for the power of a done-for-you solution, chat with our team and we'll see how we might be able to help you. And don't forget to follow us on socials at Marketing Your Brand. And remember, no matter where you're at in business, take the next right step for you.